Hello, this is Brad Wiseman. You're listening to Real Estate and You, where each week we get together to talk about real estate things, and today is going to be a unique one. It's going to be a good one. I kind of screwed up my schedule, and the guest that I was supposed to have come in here is not coming in, so therefore I have another guest. And actually, this guest is a wonderful guest, and I'm really excited because we're going to talk about absolutely pretty much anything. So let's give it a shot, see what happens. How you doing, Jordan?
I'm good. How are you?
I hope you're prepared for today, and make sure you get up there on that microphone.
So prepared.
Yeah, you seem very prepared. Like
not nervous.
Lots
at
of notes.
all.
Lots of notes.
Yes.
A lot of notes
here
in front of you. Yeah. So I thought what we could do is, since you're like in the trenches in real estate, and so am I, but you're really in the trenches. You're on Susan McFadden's team, and I thought, why not bring you in to talk to you? Because I thought about this a long time. I thought about this. It was at least 3 minutes.
Seconds?
Probably 10 minutes when I walked around the office. And no, I just wanted to find out what are you experiencing out there? Like, what are you seeing? Here's a couple things. Is it getting to be less of a seller's market? Same, more? You see anything changing?
I mean, I would say I've seen some changes,
Yeah.
right? When I say, for me anyway, on the buyer side, slowing.
Yeah.
Not meaning less buyers or more houses coming on.
Gotcha.
Just meaning like instead of a house, having offers due in 2 days, maybe now they're due in 5 days from the time
Okay.
it was listed. And maybe instead of needing to go $50,000 over asking, we can go like 20
Gotcha.
and win. So I don't know if it's slowing or just kind of changing a little bit. At least that's what I've seen.
What about the quality of the buyer? I think that's what I'm noticing a little bit is the quality of the buyers are changing a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of. Are you seeing a little bit more FHA coming in here?
Yeah,
and VA maybe,
and like it actually getting accepted.
Yes,
is what
yes.
is kind of what
Yes.
I'm seeing and what has changed. Back over the summer, like there was no chance of that happening. It
No.
was like good luck.
Yeah, it was unfortunately actually because
Yeah.
it limits the amount of people that can purchase. It really became okay. The cream of the crop are the ones that are getting the houses, and anybody that is just a little bit less than cream
Mhm.
is not getting a house. And it's amazing because it's not that they're bad buyers; they're just not as good as the
Right.
person in front of them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not that they're bad buyers. In fact, we'd be jumping up and down for joy for most of those buyers 3-4 years ago.
Oh my gosh. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, every deal I did was FHA.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just was what it was.
Yep.
And there was seller assist happening and, like normal things. And now it's like, okay, how much cash can we guarantee?
Yeah.
How are you going to do inspections? I hope not, because
Yeah.
good luck if you are.
Yeah.
That part I see hasn't changed yet, really.
And that's touchy too. Don't you think the whole inspection thing is a little touchy? I mean, because nobody wants to say don't get inspections,
Mhm.
but the reality is, if you do, you probably won't get the house.
Right. So it's a really difficult conversation
It
to
is,
have. I
right.
find it difficult because
Yep.
I would want a home inspection.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have to go to these people who maybe don't know what they're looking at and say, well, if you want to win, you really can't.
Right.
And it's kind of unfair.
It is. It is. And what? Here's the thing. What's the backlash going to be?
Well, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've talked about that before with some other agents. Like, what's going to happen in 3-4 years when
Mhm.
all of these buyers see things that they
Yeah.
didn't have the opportunity to see before? There's not really much recourse besides
There's not.
negativity. And
Yeah. Is it
angry
going to be
people.
negativity towards us
Well-
are they going to be like, oh, agents put me in this situation, or are they going to remember? Hopefully they will, is that we were very honest with them and said, we're not saying don't do inspections. All I'm saying is that if you do, it lessens the chance of you getting the home.
Mhm.
You make that choice.
Yeah.
You make that choice, not us. I mean,
Yeah.
we have to guide them and tell them what's going on, tell them what's happening in the marketplace.
For them to make their decision
Exactly.
as to how they want to approach
Exactly.
and whether or not they want to have a shot at winning.
Yeah, and that scares me. I wonder if and we know there are. There's probably agents out there that are saying, "Oh, you can't do inspections."
Oh, I'm sure. There's got to be.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because we have morals and ethics and things that we try to follow. We do follow.
Mhm.
And there's people out there probably. Ooh, as I hit my my thing here, you hear that? It was like a bell going
Was it
off.
the lunch bell?
Yes, that was the lunch bell. By the way, it is time for lunch, which means I'm leaving. You can stay if you'd
See
like.
ya.
Yeah, see, you gotta go. But no, it's interesting, the inspection thing. But what are you finding with appraisals?
actually not really. I've had one appraisal issue recently, but I've
Wow.
been really, really lucky. My Might have all come in really very clean. The one that I had, it was a big gap. It was like a $22,000
Yeah,
gap.
that's a gap.
Um, but
Wow.
it was kind of expected, and the listing agent
So you
expected.
had the buyer.
I had the buyer.
Okay. So it comes in 22,000 under.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys go over full price
Uh-huh.
by 22,000?
By 25, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of it makes sense.
And the listing agent and I actually had a discussion about it when we went under contract
Right.
that, he also understood that we were probably going to be too high and that he didn't think it was going to appraise. So it was an easier conversation to have. My people did not have the cash to
Okay.
back it up.
Right.
And it was an easier conversation to have with him and for him to have with his clients because he prepped them in advance
Yeah.
that he thought it was going to appraise
Yeah.
low.
Yeah. And it's all our
And
business, as like any business, is setting the expectation
oh yeah,
up front.
and
Yeah.
that appraisal actually was below the asking price too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was
Which is pretty, that's amazing. Did you guys appeal it or what'd you do? I don't know if people know this, but
They-
we can appeal these appraisals when they come out. We don't always win. Most of the time we don't. But maybe 20% of the time, if maybe the appraiser, maybe missed a comparable or something like that, we can get it to go through. And it happens. I mean, appraisers are not perfect. They're just like you and I, and they make mistakes. So
Mhm.
there is times we appeal them. So you didn't
We
appeal it?
didn't.
You did
His
not
people
appeal it?
just agreed. They knew,
Yeah.
that was a more reasonable value for
Yeah.
their home.
Yeah.
So they just agreed in the end.
Yeah. And well,
Yeah.
the good thing about that is that your buyer didn't have to win that property by doing the appraisal spread,
Right.
because it could have been ugly. It could have been
Oh
that it came
yeah.
in under the asking price.
Mhm.
If they would have said, "Hey, we'll give 10,000 over the appraisal," they would be owning a house that's, definitely not worth what they paid for it.
Right. Right. The other thing that I've had happen recently, which I've loved, is twice I've gotten appraisal waivers, which
Okay.
has been
Yeah,
for
those are
buyers,
great.
which has been fantastic.
Yeah, those are
Just
great.
makes life so much easier.
Was that meaning, so what she's talking about is appraisal waivers are basically the bank says, "Hey, you know what? We feel confident about
Mhm.
this." Most likely the buyer had a lot of money down.
In both instances, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of times if you have 30% down, 40% down, the bank looks at that, or the underwriter looks at it and says, "Hey, you know what? We don't need to do an appraisal on this property because we're covered.
Mhm.
We feel confident that we're not going to be underwater if the person doesn't pay."
And in both instances, we weren't going like super high over
Gotcha.
asking.
Right.
One,
So it
we
makes even more
won
sense.
at asking, and the
Yeah.
other one, I think we were over by 5,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and those are nice because, for one, the buyer saves, 400 some bucks for an appraisal, whatever
Yeah.
it is, and also it's just one less thing that the seller has to worry
The
about,
stress is
stress is gone.
and
Yeah.
then you're going from contract to, conditional
Yeah.
approval
Yeah.
without any sort of hoops in the middle,
Yep.
which is
Yeah. It's a
nice.
nice feeling. That's like Christmas Day when you get that call. By the way, we're doing a waiver in the appraisal. You're like, "Oh yes, I just got a great gift."
Yes,
It's an amazing
absolutely.
gift. Yeah. So the
Absolutely.
appraisals are still kind of hanging in there. They're doing okay. And I haven't had any turn down lately either, I got to say.
Yeah.
Most of mine have been going through. It's what I'm thinking too is, John Gerhardt and I were talking about this the other day about appraisals, and that the appraisers, just as much as we have grown to understand this market, we have to know that the appraisers are growing too to
Mhm.
understand this market. We've never been through this, and I've said that thousands of times in either our meetings or here on the podcast. And what is interesting is that the appraisers are now, and I never knew they were allowed to do this until I had an appraiser on my podcast. And they're allowed to actually figure in if the market is going at a certain clip. So if the
Mhm.
market's going like this right now on the podcast, can't see my hands, but I'm going up in the air.
Right.
If it's going a slow gradual appreciation, if that trend stays there and has been consistent. Now we're not talking 2 months. We're
Mhm.
talking a consistent trend of maybe, let's just say, 2% a month or
Right.
3% a month. It's going up. This year was 11% as a whole that the market went up, which is just unheard of.
Bonkers.
Yeah. So Pete Hyman and I talk about this all the time. So
Mhm.
so they are allowed to look at the last sold.
Okay.
And if it was 45 days ago, they're allowed to justify 3% more than that price. Yeah.
I had no idea.
I don't have the numbers are not exact, but they're allowed to
Yeah.
take a trend line and go, okay. And I never knew that until I had, Diane was in here. I can't remember her last name now. Having a mind block, but she was in here, told me, and I just blew my mind because all my life I always thought, all my real estate life, which is pretty much all my life,
Not
I was
really, Brad.
pretty much
I know how
almost.
old
I
you
think I
are.
was like 5. I was 5 years old when I started. But yeah, so she said that they can do that, and I always thought, how is the market ever going to go up
Yeah.
if the appraisers are always looking back?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're never looking backwards. They're always or they're looking backwards. They're not looking forward. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I had no idea.
Neither did I.
Also proves I should probably
Listen to my
the
podcast.
more
Yeah, exactly.
closely.
Yeah. That was the whole point of this conversation was you're not listening to my podcast enough. That's what this is about,
A hand
Jordan.
slap.
Yeah, that's what that was. That's exactly right.
You brought me here for that.
Yes, I did. Yes. What else do you want to talk about? What else is going on in
Oh,
your real estate
gosh.
world? Like you've been having some crazy ones. Tell me
Okay.
about the one that they tried to sell the house and it was
Yeah.
not
so,
really should be selling it.
Right. That was a first. And I think a first for a lot
First,
of people.
I've never heard of that before.
Right. So go under contract on a house with some buyers,
Yeah.
like the most fantastic people, right? So this stuff always happens to like
Of course.
the best people.
Of course.
So these people are fantastic. We go under contract, forward it to Lorena at our title
Okay,
company to do
awesome.
all the title work. She's great. Calls me the next day and is like, "Hey, is this a short sale? Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah, like
I
Jordan,
said-
do you know what you're doing?
Right. And I was like, no, like I don't know. We're buying the house.
Right.
And she's like, no, you're not. It's in foreclosure and it's going to sheriff's sale next Wednesday.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like,
Now, when were you supposed to settle?
the day before Thanksgiving.
No, wait. So how many? So you're saying she said it's going to be next week. Okay.
So this was, it would have been 2 Wednesdays ago. We
Oh my
had
gosh.
a 27-day
And you're supposed to
close.
settle the day before Thanksgiving.
So the worst part of
Oh,
all of this is,
gosh.
do you want to hear the real sob story?
Yeah.
So
Am I going to
people-
sob?
You might.
I might.
The
Do you have
people-
tissues, Hugo? Go
The
ahead.
people are so nice. It's a pastor and his wife and their 3 small kids.
My gosh, this sounds like
Just wait.
sad already.
It gets better. It gets better.
Okay.
Maybe worse is the
Maybe
right word.
worse would be the way. Yeah.
They live in a parsonage. He is changing jobs and they can no longer live in
Oh,
the parsonage
jeez.
of the church that he was formerly working at. They gave him until December 31st to find new housing. This was great because we were supposed to settle before Thanksgiving, takes the stress off of them of finding the
Right.
house. Holidays in their new house, all
Yeah,
of this
perfect.
stuff. And we actually met the seller at our showing.
And obviously they lied like crazy.
Oh, lied like crazy. She not supposedly, listing agent said she had another offer in. She picked my people's offer because she liked them so much and
Oh,
liked their
man.
family.
Ugh.
And then come to find literally the next day that this is what's going on. So the listing agent was great. She went to the bank. She got her personal real estate attorneys involved and was trying to find a way for the bank to stay the foreclosure. Lorena worked so hard on
Yeah,
it.
but she had gone
And-
so long probably that there was no pushing
There
it
was
back.
no hope. The
Yeah.
bank was just not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was the sheriff's sale was on the following Wednesday. That Monday we got the call that it's definitely not
Ugh.
happening. Then after the sheriff's sale happened, the bank gets it or whatever happens there.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the bank gets it back.
right.
Because the bank buys it back, basically.
Right. So
they buy the debt. Yeah.
The bank owns
Mhm.
it and now says, okay, now she has that 30-day window that the bank said, okay, you can sell it. So my people considered going back and actually going through with it. But then she said that she was going to destroy the house because she was so mad. So
Oh
now
my gosh.
here we are looking for a house.
So
in
have they
time
found a
crunch.
house? Is there a happy ending on this?
No,
Or
not yet. We're
Oh,
making an
God.
offer on one of Kelly's listings. Kelly, if you're listening.
Oh, Kelly Spade?
Yeah, listen to
Yeah,
our
we should
sob
definitely.
story.
Yeah, come on, Kelly. Have a heart, Kelly.
Talk to your sellers. We'll write a letter.
We'll write a letter. We'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Cruises, whatever you need. you
I
know?
don't even care.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're still looking. They're
Yeah.
super well qualified, the
Ugh.
nicest people. But who? I don't even understand how you think you can do this.
That's terrible. Well, you know what's amazing? It just shows you that you really have to be careful out there because people, now and I always try to look at the best part of people and think that maybe she didn't realize, maybe she thought she could postpone the sheriff's sale, the seller. Do you think maybe? No, you're giving me that look like there's no way. Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
So, well, then that's just terrible. because then
Yeah.
you're bringing somebody's life to a halt, which is not
Mhm.
cool.
Mm-mm.
And he didn't deserve that. But that happens. And you know what?
Well,
Here's at the end of the day, there's always the silver lining is going to be this. They're going to find a house that they love even more,
oh, for sure.
and it's going to be the right house for them.
This wasn't the right house. This was not their house, and that's what I told them.
And they're people of faith. They know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, the crazy part is it's like I've done a lot of business this year, like compared to what I've done before. And it just goes to what I always say to you, like, there's a first time for everything. I have learned
That's a good one.
so much through that experience that it's not even
Yeah, you
funny.
couldn't even pay for that education.
No.
Yeah.
I
Well, you
mean,
probably are, but
well, I think I did. But
you'll get it back.
you've been doing this, what, like 80 years,
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
you
Thanks.
said it never
This will be
happened
your
to you.
last time on that as a guest, just so you know. If you don't know what happened to Jordan, it's because she's picking on me for being old. No,
Yeah.
it'll be my 30th year in July.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. And I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's amazing, right?
You know.
So, you know what? We actually talked about absolutely nothing for 15 minutes. So
That's
this is
great.
wonderful. Is there anything else you want to talk about? We got the holidays coming up. Anything you want, any advice for buyers or sellers,
If you're trying to buy a house, don't go out and buy furniture. Don't spend a lot
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Christmas gifts. Like, let's keep
Yes.
our debt down.
Very good. Good advice.
I've learned a lot
Great
from
advice.
Justin Perella.
Yeah, good
It's like,
advice.
don't buy anything. Just
And
don't
you're
go out and
so
buy a new
right.
car. Like,
You're so right.
be
So-
reasonable.
because if you do those things, you're definitely going to hinder your ability to buy.
Mhm.
So don't do it. Don't do it. And don't use your credit cards if you can really get away from using credit cards. That's a good idea too. I did that for
Sure.
a very long time in my life. If you don't have the money to do it, don't do it. Right?
It's good advice.
Yes, I think so. Thanks for being my guinea pig for
Sure.
today. I appreciate it. Jordan Kreitz. If you ever need a guest and you don't know who to have on your show, I will give you Jordan's information. She's an amazing realtor. She's on Susan McFadden's team. Susan even gets a plug now too. And she's in the trenches. She knows what's going on. So that was a lot of fun. All right. We'll see you next week. All right, we're good.
Are we still live on
We're still live
Facebook?
on here. Yes, we're gonna end that
Let's turn
too.
that off,
Thanks,
please.
Facebook people. We appreciate you.